Don't underestimate the power of the battery size. So let me start by saying I have a lot of battery space. It's over 30 kilowatt hours. But let me give you a little bit of background on it. So when I first got my RV and I was building out a system, I remember going to my wife and saying, look, I want to install solar. And her answer was, well, if I can't run my air conditioner, then we can just stay at parks. And I'm like, well, I don't want to just stay at parks. So the first thing I did is I focused on getting me an inverter, which I got the 6000 XP, and I got me 3 Life Power EG4 batteries. Now this was 300 amp hours and it worked. I could run the air conditioner overnight. Now keep in mind, I did some upgrades to the RV. I got rid of the default air conditioners. I installed some mini splits and stuff. And those videos are all attached. You can go out and look at those. So that was the first thing I did is I got that. We went on like that for a couple of months and everything was working fine. And what I realized is I could run everything on these 300 amp hours of battery power, but only when the weather was nice. We did a couple of trips up north. I even had some overcast days when the weather was nice and it didn't have a whole bunch of air conditioning, that it was okay then also. And so that I really didn't have too much of a problem there. The system needed to be bigger when the weather got worse. So after our first initial trip, we moved back down to Florida where we live, and we parked the RV and we stay in it from time to time. At that point, we weren't living in it living on it in full time. We're living in it now full time as we sell our house, which is great because it makes for a lot of really good videos. But the idea is that I needed more battery power, but I was unwilling to spend the $4,000 to get this battery power. So what I did is I upgraded and built myself out a new DIY battery with a JK BMS. I inserted a T-fuse and my on-off switch. And as you can see from this, it's 16 cells. They're 304 amp hours apiece. This, in essence, overnight doubled my battery space. But more importantly, what it did is it got me up over that hump where every day I am just having enough power to do what I need to do. And if there's a little bit of bad weather, after 2 days of a little bit of bad weather, I would pull in some grid power to equalize it out. And that was going on. And what it basically did, it allowed me to boondock for a few days, run the generator for, a couple of hours. But in reality, I wanted more than that. I wanted to be able to just unplug completely and not worry about electricity. That's not easy unless you get over that hump of where you are. So this battery, the second battery, the DIY battery, bumped me up to 604 amp hours or 31 kilowatt hours of battery power. And this one's mounted in the front bay of my RV in the fifth wheel. And then right behind it, as you see that piece of plywood up there in the top left-hand corner, there is that wall where you can see the back of it on the EG4 batteries here. So you can see the wall here. So that the DIY battery and the inverter is mounted right behind that wall. That allows me to go off-grid for practically an endless amount of time. The only difference is when you're not out visiting a place and you're going out for long periods of time, you run the air conditioner more, you work in the RV, you watch TV every night, you use the air, all the big devices that you wouldn't be using when you're traveling and you're on vacation or when you're at a fair or a trade show and you're out working all day. When you're there in the RV from day to day, the usage is a little bit different. Thus is why I built the solar shed, because when I'm not traveling and I'm at home, I don't want to worry about power and I don't want to pay for electricity when I can get it all for free, thank goodness. So this is why I have the 4 batteries that I have, or as you might want to say, the 400 amp hours 600 amp hours or 604 technically amp hours of batteries that I have. I hope that answers the question, but if you have any other questions about the solar shed, the RV, or anything, feel free to leave a comment down below. My email's down there if you also want to write me, and I look forward to the next video. And thanks for watching. See how I want to say this. And you're not out in the world